Hey there! Welcome to 1% English Podcast, the daily English show that trains your ears and your brain just 20 minutes a day. Today, together with our two hosts, we will explore the inspiring story of the man who wore a sanitary napkin.
We're talking about Arunachalam Muruganantham, who you might know famously as the Padman of India.
That's right. And this isn't just, a story about an invention. It's really a profound look at how one person's empathy, his incredible persistence, actually, and this unwavering commitment to social change can challenge these deeply ingrained taboos.
Okay, so let's begin right at the start with the man himself, Arunachalam Muruganantham. He was born in 1961 in Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. He described his family as BPL, that's below poverty line. His father was a hand loom weaver. His mother worked on a farm. Life wasn't easy. He only studied up to the 9th grade and had to take on various jobs, machine tool operator, welder, just to support the family after his father tragically died in a road accident. So by 1998, he called himself a housebound husband, and his world pretty much revolved around his wife, Shanti, his mother, and his small workshop.
And to really get a grip on his journey, you have to understand the social context there. I mean, in many parts of India, menstruation is just shrouded in this immense taboo and silence.
Yeah, it's hard for some of us to imagine.
It really is. And it's not just a cultural thing. It has serious health implications. Women and girls were, and sometimes still are, forced to use these incredibly unhygienic alternatives. The sources mention things like sawdust, dried leaves, old newspapers, even sand.
Sand, wow.
Yeah. Some communities, women would sit on stacks of hay. It was this silent, widespread health crisis affecting millions, but, almost never discussed openly.
And that silence was just shattered for Muruganantham in 1998, wasn't it? In a really personal way.
Absolutely.
He saw his wife, Shanti, trying to hide something, and he asked her what it was, and she said, "It is none of your business." He said he felt that like a slap on my cheeks.
Quite a reaction.
And then he saw what she was hiding. This very nasty cloth, a rag cloth, something he said he wouldn't even use to clean his own motorbike. And in that second, the reason just clicked. Commercial sanitary napkins were simply too expensive for them.
And that's such a pivotal moment, isn't it? When he asked her why she wasn't using them, her answer just cut straight to the core of it all. She said, "If myself and other women in our family start using napkins, we have to cut our family milk budget."
Wow. Milk versus hygiene.
Exactly. That one sentence just instantly made him understand this deep, painful link between basic female hygiene and just severe household economics. It wasn't about awareness like maybe he first thought.
Right.
It was purely cost. Families literally choosing between milk and fundamental health.
So it wasn't just personal. It was this huge systemic economic problem he stumbled upon. That realization about the cost, what did that do? How did it change his approach?
Well, it showed him this massive market inefficiency, almost exploitation, really. Essential hygiene products priced way out of reach for millions. So he realized he wasn't just looking at making a product. He was challenging an entire system that put profit over public health. And that understanding that just propelled him into action immediately.
So, driven by this, he goes straight to a shop, buys a packet of commercial pads, and his workshop helper brain, as he calls it, just kicks in. He starts calculating. He notices the pad weighs less than 10 grams. And in Coimbatore, which is a big textile hub, he knew 10 grams of cotton cost only about 10 cents back then.
Tiny amount.
Yeah. But the finished pad sold for 4 rupees. That's a staggering 40 times the raw material cost.
40 times. It's incredible.
So he was, in his words, damn sure he could make a low-cost napkin himself.
And that conviction just sent him off on this extraordinary and, let's be honest, deeply unconventional research journey.
Right.
Starting right there at home.
Yeah. His wife, Shanti, became his first victim, as he put it. His only volunteer, really. He gives her a handmade cotton pad, and he's just eager for immediate feedback. But he quickly learns this fundamental truth, maybe many men ignore. Period means monthly, once.
The waiting game.
Exactly. He had to wait. And when the feedback finally came, like 15 days later, it was brutal. She said, "What napkin you gave it to me? It is very nasty. I'll go back to my cloth using method."
Ouch. Imagine that blow after all the hope.
Yeah. Must have been incredibly disheartening.
Totally. But it also just highlights the immense challenge he was up against. Not just the technical bit, but that deep-seated social taboo around menstruation.
Right.
Even his own sisters refused to help. They told his wife, "Don't come to my home to talk about this subject."
Oh.
So desperate for feedback, he tries approaching medical college girls, giving them free pads. But even these future doctors, as he called them, were too shy to discuss it openly with an adult man.
So the silence was everywhere.
Everywhere. He tried feedback sheets, but then he finds out 3 girls were filling them out for 20 others. Just false data. Imagine trying to innovate in that kind of environment.
It's like hitting a brick wall.
Almost impenetrable. A wall of silence and shame.
So faced with this wall of silence and bad data, he takes this truly radical step. I mean, some might even say insane.
Yeah, it sounds it.
He decides to test the pads himself. He buys triangular underwear, wears a sanitary napkin, and rigs up a football bladder filled with animal blood, connected by a tube to the pad. And then while walking, cycling, he'd press it to simulate, the flow. He literally became, as he famously said, a man who wore sanitary napkins.
That level of dedication is almost unfathomable.
Isn't it? But the consequences were immediate and just incredibly severe. It hit his personal life hard.
How so?
His wife, Shanti, accused him of roaming with medical college girls. Despite him trying desperately to explain his research, she left him, sent him a divorce notice eventually. And his mother, she saw his backyard filled with this substance, the used pads he'd collected for research, right?
Right, the research materials.
She thought he was mad, or someone had done black magic on him. She cried, believing Mahalakshmi, the goddess of wealth, was going to leave their home. She left him too.
His mother and his wife, gone.
Yeah. And the whole village gossiped. They thought he had sexual diseases or bad spirits. Maybe he was a vampire drinking girls' blood. They actually wanted to chain him up or chase him out.
Chain him up. Good grief.
He literally had to run away, stayed in a nearby city just to escape being completely, ostracized.
Can you just imagine that isolation? To be so driven by solving a problem, only to have your entire world just collapse. Family gone. Community shunning you. What does that tell you? But the kind of person who can actually achieve something revolutionary.
It's an almost unbelievable level of personal sacrifice, isn't it?
Truly. It puts his singular focus into such stark relief. It shows how deeply he believed in what he was doing, even when everyone, literally everyone, thought he was crazy.
Yeah.
It highlights that sometimes, real groundbreaking change needs this almost stubborn refusal to give up, even when everything and everyone is telling you you're wrong.
So despite this incredible isolation, Muruganantham just kept going. After nearly a year of testing them himself, he realized his simple cotton pads just weren't working like the commercial ones.
Right, they weren't performing the same.
He sent the commercial pads to labs all over India. They confirmed, yes, they used cotton filament and cellulose substance, but he was using cotton too, so what was the critical difference?
The missing piece.
And then the aha moment finally came. He figured it out. Commercial pads use cellulose fibers, specifically derived from pine bark wood pulp.
Ah, pine bark wood pulp, not just any cotton.
Exactly.
And this wasn't just regular cellulose. It was this highly processed wood pulp that, unlike the cotton he was using, had this unique structure. It could absorb way more liquid and hold its shape.
Preventing leakage and discomfort.
That was the crucial difference he'd been missing, the key to making an effective pad.
So a massive breakthrough. But it immediately throws up this new huge challenge. The imported machines that actually made these pulp-based pads were astronomically expensive.
Yeah, how expensive are we talking?
Around 35 million rupees. That's about, US $410,000?
Wow. Okay, for a school dropout from a poor family.
Exactly. Trying to copy the multinational model by buying a machine like that, just impossible, an insurmountable barrier.
So this is where his real ingenuity kicks in again, isn't it? He couldn't buy the solution.
Yeah.
He had to invent it, and specifically, invent a way to make it affordable for the very people who needed it most.
But giving up just wasn't in his DNA, clearly. He spent another 4.5 years researching, innovating, using what he calls the trial and error method.
He says is
the only method given by God for true invention. And he proudly says, I made world-class napkin at my home with a small, low-cost machine.
Incredible. And low-cost how?
This machine cost just 65,000 rupees. That's about $770.
From $410,000 down to $770, that's amazing.
Right, and it could do everything.
Yeah.
Grind, defibrate, press, sterilize the pads under UV light, and then package them. And crucially, it could be operated with minimal training.
Making it accessible.
Exactly. Accessible even in remote villages.
What's fascinating here is his whole perspective on knowledge versus clarity. He argues that because he wasn't formally educated, it actually gave him what he calls a kind of clarity, like this rock-solid, certain understanding of the core problem.
Yeah, laser focus.
Exactly. Which he believes is more important than formal knowledge for designing something truly new. He even jokes that what big corporations call R&D, research and development, it's just their fancy term for trial and error. He actually encourages people to fail fast, calls it the success mantra.
Fail fast. I like that.
And this innovative, low-cost machine, it eventually earned him the National Innovation Foundation's Grassroots Technological Innovations Award at IIT Madras. That really brought him into the limelight, and eventually he got the patent rights.
It's just amazing, isn't it? How his personal grit, combined with this clear mind, kind of unburdened by conventional thinking, let him crack a problem that these huge multi-million-dollar corporations had effectively monopolized.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you really don't need a fancy degree to make a massive difference.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so now he has the patent rights. He's got this world-class, super low-cost machine. He's sitting on what most entrepreneurs would call a hotcake product.
Definitely. Goldmine potential.
Most people would immediately look to commercialize it, right? Maximize profit, build a huge empire. But he chose a dramatically different path.
He did.
He got offers from several big corporate entities, but he famously refused to sell his invention. Why? Why make such an unconventional choice?
Well, his philosophy really stems directly from his childhood. He often says, no human being died because of poverty. Everything happens because of ignorance.
Interesting perspective.
And he criticizes that endless pursuit of money. He jokes about people needing a gold-plated and diamond ring on their toothbrush as they get richer. For him, this was just never about getting wealthy.
Right.
It was, first and foremost, a social cause. His goal wasn't to get rich from the pads. It was to make sure everyone could get them.
So instead of traditional retail, he pioneers this thing he calls detailing, which isn't just direct selling, is it? It's a much bigger idea.
You're absolutely right. Detailing, it's about decentralizing the whole thing. Production and distribution. He wasn't selling pads directly. He was selling the means to make pads.
Ah, the machines themselves.
Exactly. He distributed his low-cost machines directly to poor women, often through these self-help groups in rural India. He tells stories about taking machines on donkeys' backs to really remote villages, places like Rudraprayag, hours from paved roads.
Oh.
Reaching places, he joked, that a giant like Johnson & Johnson would take another 25 years to reach.
That's incredible reach.
And now schoolgirls in these areas are actually making their own pads. It creates local jobs, affordable products right where they're needed. This approach has already created something like 867 local brands.
867 local brands directly challenging the multinationals.
Yeah. A silent pink revolution, as people have called it.
That's a great term for it. And his vision is just huge, isn't it? To create, not less than 1 million employments for rural women?
1 million jobs.
Yeah.
And transform India from a country with less than 5%, maybe 7% sanitary pad penetration.
Right, that term penetration.
Meaning usage, basically, from that low level to 100%. And now he's planning to expand this whole empowering model to 106 developing nations.
Just incredible scale, all stemming from one man's empathy and persistence.
And his impact, unsurprisingly, hasn't gone unnoticed globally. He was on Time magazine's list of 100 most influential people in 2014.
Wow, who else was on that list?
Figures like India's Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. He's lectured at Harvard, given TED Talks, talked with global leaders like Bill Gates, the CEO of Unilever.
So from village workshop helper to the global stage.
Exactly. He even joked about feeling like Aishwarya Rai on the red carpet at some event in New York with all these photographers snapping pictures of the workshop helper.
That's brilliant.
And when journalists asked him about Indian politics, he famously just quipped, "My wife Shanti is not interested," just highlighting his unwavering focus on the mission.
Not getting sidetracked.
Not at all.
What an incredible journey we've explored today, diving into the life and impact of Arunachalam Muruganantham. I mean, from that humble beginning, that personal insult almost, to becoming this global social entrepreneur.
Yeah.
His story is just such a powerful reminder of how one person's relentless pursuit of a solution, really fueled by compassion, can literally change the world. It is a real testament to that idea of daily micro-improvement, making that 1% difference.
Absolutely. And his journey teaches us, doesn't it, that innovation isn't just confined to labs or fancy degrees. It can emerge from the most unexpected places when it's driven by this clear purpose. And it also brings us to this provocative thought, something Muruganantham himself often says. He says, "Whoever I read, India is going to send a woman to Mars." I laugh. Oh my God. First give the sanitary pad before sending them to Mars and Moon.
He's really funny.
He's challenging us really to consider what fundamental earthly needs we often overlook in our rush for grander, more distant achievements. It really makes you think about priorities, doesn't it?
It certainly does. A really powerful point for all of you listening to ponder. And for our listeners focusing on improving their English, let's quickly highlight some useful vocabulary from today's discussion. These are B2 plus level terms you might find useful.
Good idea.
First one, ostracize. Ostracize. It means to exclude someone from a society or group. We said Muruganantham was ostracized by his community. They deliberately excluded and shunned him because of the taboo around his work. You could say it would be painful to be ostracized by your friends.
Important word.
Second, catalyst. C-A-T-A-L-Y-S-T. A catalyst is a person or thing that causes an event or change to happen, basically a trigger. We said the moment Muruganantham saw his wife using dirty rags was a catalyst for his invention. It triggered his whole journey. So his observation served as a catalyst for change.
Makes sense.
And third, penetration. P-E-N-E-T-R-A-T-I-O-N. In a market or social context, penetration refers to how much a product, service, or idea is actually used or adopted by people. Muruganantham aims to increase sanitary pad penetration in India from, say, 5% to 100%. High market penetration just means lots of people are using a product.
Got it. Useful terms.
Okay, now for a simple task based on today's content that ties into our whole 1% English learning idea. Reflect on a social or maybe even a personal problem you've noticed in your own life or community. How might that trial and error approach that Muruganantham championed, focusing on his idea of clarity over formal knowledge, help you find a unique solution, even a small one?
Yeah, just thinking differently.
Exactly. Think about how you could apply a 1% improvement mindset to that problem, starting maybe even today. What small step could you take?
Good challenge.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope you found Muruganantham's story as inspiring and thought-provoking as we did.
Yeah, it's quite something.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning. Keep making that 1% improvement every day.
Congrats! You just crushed your 1% for today. If you're loving this podcast, show that subscribe button some love. And don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss your daily dose of 1%. That's it for today. Take care, keep growing, and we'll see you tomorrow.